Living Settlements will be coming to Conan Exiles with the future update to the game, Age of Heroes. Now, with Living Settlements, the biggest change is that the crafters are no longer items. These crafters are actually placed out into the world just like your fighter thralls or your archers, performers, bearers, anything that you've placed out into the world to be able to follow you. Now, the change that I'm most excited for with this update is being able to actually dress my crafters the way that I want to. However, it creates some other issues that may come into play in both PvE and PvP. Probably more heavy on the PvP side of things because these crafters can now be killed. Now, does that really change what's going on in PvP? Well, I would say it absolutely does, because you used to be able to grab a crafter, throw them in an inventory, hide them, and make it so that people couldn't steal them. You could even keep them on your own character or whatever you wanted to in order to keep them safe during raid times. Now you're not going to be able to do that. You simply have to leave them for people to be able to kill them. And it's very likely that that's going to happen, and you're going to be in an endless loop of looking for crafters. And I feel like there's one key feature that could be implemented that would make Living Settlements so much better, and that really has to do with re-itemizing characters. So it doesn't matter what character it is. It could be a fighter thrall, it could be a crafter, whatever it is, but a system where you could take that particular follower and re-itemize it so that you could carry it long distances. Now, some people may say, well, that's too gamey. I don't want to be able to do that. It breaks immersion. Whatever, you could just ignore the fact that that's in the system. Remember, we are playing a game. This is not real world, so some things just have to be gamey. And we already have a sorcery system in the game that could allow us to do that. Let's take the sacrificial stone, for example. We could potentially have a follower follow us to the sacrificial stone and then just have a recipe that would allow us to re-itemize that person, essentially putting them in some kind of stasis. Now, one of the issues that you may run into as well is that they will not properly follow you. The crafters, when you initially place them and they have their needs, they don't actually like to follow you across the map. So this makes having the followers go to a different base if you're trying to relocate very, very difficult. You can see this guy just keeps spawning in and trying to run back to fulfill his needs. Even though I've got him well over 50 meters away from where he's supposed to be, he's continuously going to try to run back to the base. This creates a problem if you're actually trying to get them across the map. So they're not going to engage in fights, they're just going to run back to the base. And I'm not sure that even if I get him all the way over to another base, that he's actually going to stay there and he's not going to run all the way back. So I've teleported way out and away from where the base was. My base is way over here. I brought him way over here. And as you can see, he just repeats the loop of trying to run back to the location where I initially placed him. Now, there's an easy fix for this. If it happens to you, you need to do one of two things. You either go into their menu and you set them with an emote. It doesn't matter what emote it is. You can set them with that emote and then you can clear that emote and they should follow you properly. The other way to fix this is by telling them to move to a specific location and they should actually follow you properly again. Now that will allow you to bring them to a new location, and then we could take him over to a proper bench here and set him at that bench, even though you don't have to actually set them at that bench. But it just is a bit of a convoluted system where you have to tell them either to move to a certain location or you have to tell them to emote in order to get them to not try to run immediately back to whatever location you place them in. We'll try to have another one follow us back to the other base, and as you'll see, the same issues happening. So we need to tell her to move to a certain location. That ought to set her up to not just continually run back to the other spot. Let's see if this works. There it is. And she is no longer trying to track back to her work or to her needs. However, as soon as I got back to the other spot, you can see she's running away from me and trying to get to whatever her needs are. So the system is not good for moving followers across the map. If you need to get them from point A to point B, you are going to have some issues in doing that. And you can see she's just run inside, run upstairs, and gone wherever she wanted to. I don't even know where she ended up. But should be able to tell her to move there. Possibly it might work. I don't know. The system is very weird when it comes to having the crafters follow you versus having the fighters or the archers or anything else follow you. She just absolutely won't do it. I don't know where she's at or what she's doing. She just will not stay with me. It takes multiple times to get her to actually come and do what I want her to. And here she goes. She's going to run off again. So I'm just going to tell her to stop following and allow her to go do absolutely whatever she wants. The other thing that's missing with this system is a summon system where you can find them around your base. You can spend all day looking for a particular follower in your base, depending on how many you have, and not be able to find them. Lastly, they can open doors. So if you are on a PvP server and you have your craftsmen out, you need to make sure that everything they want to do is within your base, or you need to build in a way that has them contained where they actually can't open any doors in order to go out. Because if they open doors, people can sneak into your base during that period of time when the gate or the doors are open. So I really feel like the couple of things that need to change. One, I feel like there needs to be an item re-implementation process. So you can take one of those followers and turn them back into an item. Obviously, it can cost some resources to do so. I don't have a problem with that, but I think that needs to be implemented into the game. Additionally, Funcom needs to work on polishing up the follower system for the crafters, because they should not be so difficult to make them move across the map with you. Having a setting on the doors that restricts followers from being able to use them would be a great addition to the game so that they don't expose your base to outside threats. I think the final thing that needs to be put in place is a way to make them stay in a specific position. Sure, it's fine they have needs that they have to quote-unquote fulfill, but since it's all fake, it's not actually using resources, there aren't actual needs there, I feel like there needs to be a system where you can just overwrite them walking around, going to campfires, going to beds, whatever they're doing, and make it so that you can get them to stay in a single place. I have had some luck using the emote system, but I don't feel like that is fully reliable at this point in time to get them to stay in a specific location. But you can try it out for yourself. Use the emote system so that you can try to keep them in a singular spot. That's it from me, but before you go, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of the settlement system? And if you'd make changes, what would those be? I'd like to thank all my YouTube members for your continued support. Y'all are absolute legends. Don't forget to whack the like button if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more content. And if you don't want to be out of whack, there's another video on the screen right now that you can click to support more of my content.